Alexandra Eala donates millions, champions education as a right in the Philippines. The Manila sun had only just begun to rise, its golden fingers reaching out across the skyline, reflecting off the mirrored windows of tall buildings that surrounded the Philippine capital. The city was waking, jeepers blaring their horns, vendors setting up their stalls, and school children dressed neatly in their uniforms, clutching books and lunchboxes as they hurried to class. But inside one quiet corner Makati at a modest foundation office nestled between glass towers, a 20-year-old woman sat by a window, sipping coffee and reading a letter. It was written in careful, looping handwriting from a young student in Cebu named Maria. 8. Alex, thank you for helping me go back to school. I want to be a teacher like the ones who helped me read and dream again. The woman reading the letter, Alexandra. Alex, tennis champion, global ambassador, and national hero, smiled softly. Her hands, trained for years to grip a racket and send blazing aces across the court now, held something far more powerful. The hope of a generation. That morning, Alex wasn't thinking about forehands or trophies. She was thinking about education, about what it means to dream, to learn, to grow, and to give back. Because today, she was announcing something that would change thousands of lives across the archipelago. A multi-million peso donation dedicated to building schools, scholarships, and digital learning centers throughout the Philippines. From the court to the classroom, Alex's rise in tennis had always been remarkable, a story told through sweat, heartbreak, and brilliance. Born in Manila, trained across continents, she had broken barriers for Filipino athletes. Everywhere, she wasn't just the first Filipina to win a junior Grand Slam. She was embodiment of grit wrapped in grace, balancing fierce competition with deep humility. But beneath every championship, photo and every shining trophy, there had always been another side to her. The student who loved learning, the young woman who valued books as much as backhands. Her mother, Riza Maniguila, often told interviewers, Alex always believed that learning was her foundation. She never saw sports and education as separate. For her, they worked together like the two wings of a bird. During her teenage years, Alex would travel from one tournament to another, studying through online platforms between matches. She spoke often about how difficult it was to balance her academic life with her athletic dreams. But what struck her most was realizing that so many Filipino children never got the chance to even try. While she trained in Spain's Revolutionize, Alex saw the contrast. Kids with access to facilities, tutors, and opportunities. Then she'd fly back to the Philippines and meet children who walked miles just to share a single textbook. The question haunted her. How many champions in any field are lost because they never got a fair start? The birth of the ILA Education Fund. The turning point came in early 2025. After a breakout season in Asia, Alex decided it was time to do more than play. She called a meeting with her team and said, simply, let's give back, but not just through charity. Let's build something that lasts. Within months, plans were underway for what would become the YELA Education Fund, EF, a nationwide initiative dedicated to making education a right, not a privilege. Her first public statement was as powerful as any victory speech. Every Filipino child deserves a chance, not just a dream, but to have the tools to make those dreams real. This isn't about tennis. This is about legacy, about nationhood. The fund, seated with 50 million Cuban pesos of Her personal earnings aim to support 3 major programs: scholarships for underprivileged students focusing on young girls in rural areas who often drop out due to poverty or distance, school infrastructure development, building classrooms, libraries, and solar-powered learning centers in provinces hit hardest by typhoons, digital literacy and sports integration, giving children access to online learning tools and sports training, programs teaching teamwork, discipline, and resilience. The idea wasn't just to donate money. It was to create a movement, one that united teachers, athletes, local leaders, and ordinary citizens under one shared belief. Education is power. The Cebu visit, a promise kept. When Alex returned to Cebu, her father's hometown, she didn't come with cameras or a press entourage. She came quietly, wearing a simple white shirt, jeans, and a cap. Her visit was personal, a return to the place where she had once played barefoot on cracked court and dreamed of a world beyond the islands. At a small public school in Arrow, she met dozens of students sitting on plastic chairs under a tin roof. The blackboard was cracked, the desks worn, but the smiles, bright, curious, unbroken, reminded her why she was there. You are the reason I play, she told them. You are the reason I work so hard, because every win I have, I want it to mean something for you. When she handed over a ceremonial check to the school principal, a grant to rebuild the classrooms and provide laptops to the students, tears filled the eyes of everyone in the room. The children gathered around her after the speech, asking questions not about tennis, but about life. At Alex, how do I be brave? How do I study even when it's hard? She smiled and knelt down to their level. Courage, she said, isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to stand up again, whether after a lost match or a difficult day in school. A champion's influence. Alex's initiative sent ripples throughout the sports and education sectors. Suddenly, other athletes, both Filipino and international, started taking notice. Carlos Alcaraz, her longtime friend from Spain, publicly praised her efforts. What Alex is doing is more powerful than any title. She's proving that being a champion isn't just about trophies. It's about lifting others. The Philippine Department of Education partnered with her foundation, integrating YF's digital learning systems into pilot schools across Visayas and Mindanao. Major corporations offered matching donations and volunteers. The legacy of light. Years from now, historians will tell the story of Alexandra Eala as one of the Philippines' most accomplished athletes. They will list her victories, her records, her triumphs. But for the children sitting today in classrooms, built through her generosity, for the young girls who now dare to dream of being scientists, teachers, or leaders, Alex Eala's true legacy won't be in trophies. It will be in the lives she touched, in the hope she restored, in the truth she lived. Education is not a privilege of few. It is the right of all. Epilogue. The sir that changed the game. On a bright April morning, Alex stood once again with a racket in her hand. But before serving, she looked at the crowd, a mix of fans, students, and teachers waving small Philippine flags. She smiled. This was her new match. Point, not on clay or grass, but on the heart of her homeland. As she tossed the ball into the air and sent it fly across the net, it wasn't just a serve. It was a symbol of power, purpose, and promise. Because Alexandra Eala had proven that sometimes the greatest champions don't just change games, they change lives. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. To next,